Have you ever asked the question, how do millionaires manage their money? That is what we are going to talk about in today's video, how the wealthy manage their finances. I have personally become a millionaire, so I'm going to share the exact strategies that I use. Let's dive right in. All right, what are the practical tips and strategies that millionaires use to manage their money? The first item I want to share with you, and this is pretty basic, but it is also pretty important. It is to have a spending plan, to know exactly how much money you really have, how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, and where it is going out to. In The Millionaire Next Door, which is an awesome book, if you haven't read that yet, I would definitely recommend it. But it says that millionaires track every single penny. They know where their money is going. And to share my strategy on how I have my spending plan set up, I have a Google Sheet, and then I also use a free app. It's called Empower. So I have all of my expenses listed out in my Google Sheet, along with all of my different areas of income. And then I have a net income at the bottom of my spreadsheet. So I can see exactly how much income has come in and then subtract out all of my expenses and see what that leftover is. And I have this broken down by months. So what I do is I use Empower. I hook all of my financial accounts to Empower. That includes all of my checking accounts, my savings accounts, my investment accounts, like my Roth IRA, my traditional IRA, my HSA. It also has all of my credit cards in there. And then I also have the value of my assets. Because I own multiple properties, I have my properties listed in there, and I can choose the value that I put in for my property, or Empower will go directly to Zillow and get the value of the property and put it in there for me. And then I also have the value of my car in there and any other larger assets that are going to be worth more than just some clothes or some jewelry. But that way I'm also tracking my net worth in Empower. When I log into the account, I can see my net worth right at the top, so I know if it's going up or if it's going down. And it also breaks down each category, so I can see how much I have on all of my credit cards together. I can see how much is in my savings account, how much is in my checking, and I can see all of my investment accounts together. It's just a very handy app. I log into that pretty much every morning so that I can keep an eye on my finances. If Empower is something you are interested in, I will leave my referral link below. You can click on that link and set up a free account. But I just like that because I can quickly glance at the app and see where I'm at financially. And then I also like to take all of the transactions that are in Empower. So all of the money that I've spent, for example, my utilities or my mortgage payment, my HOA payments, things like that. I take all of those expenses and I export those into my spreadsheet. So I'm not typing out or writing down every single expense that I have. It's nice because I can just pull all of those each month from Empower, put them into my spreadsheet, and all of my expenses are categorized in the categories that I have in my spreadsheet. So when I export those, I can see exactly how much I've spent each month in each category, and then I can make adjustments as I go along. So one of the ways millionaires manage their money is by looking at their money. They know exactly what's coming in and what's going out. Because they are tracking their money, they're able to improve their money situation. To give you a specific example, I had a certain subscription and I decided to cancel it, but they billed me one more time. So when I logged into Empower, I saw that transaction immediately. So I contacted the company and asked them to reverse that charge. And of course they did that within a few days. So I didn't have to worry about paying that charge because it was on my credit card and it was taken care of before my statement balance was due. And another little bonus tip that I want to share with you is that I put all of my expenses that I possibly can on my credit cards. I don't know the last time I used my debit card because if I do have a fraudulent charge, it will happen on my credit card because that's what I'm actually using out in the public. And my credit card company can take care of that immediately. My funds are not frozen in my checking account because if I used my debit card, then they would be frozen. So I just contact the credit card company, tell them it's fraudulent, and they take care of that immediately. I don't have to worry about paying for that charge or having my money frozen. And another reason I use my credit cards for all of my purchases is because I like getting reward points. For every dollar I spend on my credit card, I'm getting a certain percentage back. And I know a lot of people say, oh, if I'm using credit cards, I'm definitely going to spend more. And while that may be true in some cases, I'm pretty aware of what I am spending my money on. If I don't have the money, I'm not going to spend it. Okay, let's move to principle number 2, and this is strategic saving and investing. Being a millionaire, I definitely prioritize investing. I have a small emergency fund in my savings, which I keep in a high yield savings account. I would definitely recommend doing that. I like using Ally. There are a lot of companies out there, but if you just have money sitting in your savings account waiting for an emergency, then you should be making as much money off of that money as possible. And the reason I keep a smaller amount in my emergency fund is because I have access to cash in other ways. For example, I could put an emergency expense on my credit card and have cash within about 30 days, and I can pay that credit card off without paying any interest. And I go into more detail about this in another video. So if you are interested in that, I will leave a link above. You can check it out later on. But one of the reasons I was able to become a millionaire as quickly as I did was because I did not have a whole bunch of money sitting in my savings account. Yes, when I was younger, I did have a lot of money in my savings account. I know when I was in my 20s, I had at least $54,000 sitting in my savings account, not doing anything for me. And since then, I was able to understand the power of investing, the power of compound interest. I definitely do not keep as much money in my savings account as I used to. I try to invest as much of my money as possible as soon as possible. And I would have become a millionaire even sooner had I had done this even earlier. But nonetheless, when I made that switch, I was able to become a millionaire. So if you want to become a millionaire, start using these strategies. Start investing as much money as possible. And of course, you don't want to lose sleep at night. You want to feel comfortable with what's in your savings account. But from what I have seen, you can definitely not retire or become a millionaire by just leaving your money sitting in your savings account. And if you are still at that saving part, building up your emergency fund, one way that you can save money even easier is to automate the process. You can set up an auto transfer from your checking to your savings every 2 weeks or every month whenever you are getting paid. And that way it's automatically going into your savings and you don't even have to think about it. I gave this tip in one of my workshops and my friend had come up to me after and said she was going to implement that, and then she sent me a text months later and she said she had a significant amount in her savings and there is no way she would have had that in her savings had she not have set up that auto transfer. And also by being strategic with our investing, we can automate our investing as well. If that is something you're interested in doing, automating your stock market investing, I have a free masterclass. I will leave a link below in the description. You can click on that, check out the free masterclass. But that is just another strategy to use to automate your investing so that you don't have to think about it and you can build your wealth very, very easily. Another way that I've been strategic with my investing is to stick to what I know. I invest in the stock market and in real estate, and I do buy and hold real estate. I went on a podcast quite a while ago, and they were all about creating their own businesses and making money that way. And they had asked me about real estate investing, and they just weren't grasping the concept of investing in real estate and having to pay off a mortgage over time. If they could build up a business so quickly, then why wouldn't they just do that? But here's the thing, we all have our own unique strengths and we can focus on those strengths that work for us. I know how to invest in real estate and be successful with that. They know how to build businesses and be successful with that. So if you want to become a millionaire, make sure that you are focusing on what you are really good at. And if you're thinking, I'm not really good at anything right now, Tiffany, then pick something and learn about it and become good at it. I didn't just instantly know about real estate. I had to learn the fundamentals and actually start doing it. And I became better better and better the more I did it. But honestly, if we are good at something, we can stick with that. That is how I was able to become a millionaire. I stuck with my stock market investing and I kept that very, very simple. It's not that I was day trading or doing options or things like that. I invest in an index fund. If you want to know which one, I have another video. I'll leave a link above. And then I also invest in a few different individual stocks. So it's very simple, but it works for me. And then I invest in buy and hold real estate. And then principle number 3 on how do millionaires manage their money. And this one is debt management, or even leveraging debt. If we want to have that $1 million net worth, we cannot have a lot of high interest debt. We need to make sure that we are paying off our high interest debt, and then we can start investing our money. I've always been very conscientious of debt. I've never paid any interest on any credit cards. I've only gone into debt for cars and houses. And that is just my own personal experience. I know other people that have had lots of debt, but once they realized that they wanted to become a millionaire or become financially free, they paid off that debt and they were able to still accomplish their goal. We all have our unique paths that we are on, so we cannot compare ourselves to other people. This is just what I have chosen to do. And going along with debt management, we can also leverage debt. A lot of millionaires do this. I've been able to do this as well because I've invested in real estate properties. So I only have to have a portion of the mortgage to put down, and then I can leverage other people's money. I can borrow from the bank in order to purchase the home. This is an amazing way to build our wealth over time because we're able to buy a $600,000 asset for only 20% of the cost. And we can do that again and again and again and continue to build up to a millionaire status. We just want to make sure that we are not over leveraging debt. When something happened in 2020, some people were over leveraged with their debt, and that caused them a lot of financial stress. So for me, I definitely don't want to be over leveraged. I've been able to pay off 2 of my 3 mortgages so far. And I know that a lot of people say, well, you could be investing that money instead of paying that mortgage off and make more money. But since it is my personal financial life, I can do what I feel is best. And I wanted to pay off those 2 mortgages. It just helps me have that peace of mind. And of course, I took some risk in purchasing those properties in the beginning. So we do want to take some sort of risk in order to become a millionaire. We can't leave all of our money sitting in our savings account, not taking any risk whatsoever. But we can definitely have that calculated risk. We can do our homework, do our research, and feel comfortable with what we are investing in and the amount of risk we are taking on. And the 4th item on how millionaires manage their money is that they usually have more than one source of income. And this is not always the case. There are some really high earners out there that have become millionaires. But for me, I like having my stock market investments. I can create a stream of income from those. And then also my real estate properties. I can create a stream of income from those investment properties. And then also having roommates or a roommate and collecting income that way. And another thing I've been able to do is to write a book, which I will leave a link to below in the description. You can get your own copy. And this book actually breaks down how I was able to become a millionaire and will give you more details on how I actually manage my money. But this book is just another source of income that I have. I also have my business, so I'm creating income that way. But here's what I want to point out. I didn't have all of these streams of income at once. The first income stream that I had was a 9-to-5 job. I was just collecting a paycheck every 2 weeks, and that is where I started. And then I got into real estate and started collecting cash flow from real estate and continued to expand that part of my investing. And then I also have my stock market. So I just built one thing on top of another. I didn't all of a sudden have tons of different passive income streams. Sometimes when we try to spread ourselves too thin, then nothing is really working out. If we can focus in on one area, get that going really, really well, then we can start to add another area. And then number 5 on how millionaires manage their money is that they have a long-term financial plan. I have created a lot of goals and I have a lot of plans for my life and my money. If I didn't map out a plan that I wanted to achieve financial freedom, then I never would have done that. So it's important that we map out what we want to achieve. We want to have a financial plan. We want to know where our money should be going and then actually put our money there. It makes it a lot easier to manage your money if you already have a plan for your money. As I was working on becoming a millionaire and becoming financially free, I was very strategic in how I was going to do this. I wanted to use the stock market and use real estate. So I mapped out my plan on how I would do that. And as I was mapping out my plan, I knew that I had to keep a long-term mindset. That is a key component on building up your wealth and managing your money better. If you are so focused on the short term, you're going to make choices that align with just short-term benefits, and you're neglecting the long-term benefit of becoming a millionaire. I knew I wouldn't be able to build my wealth overnight. I knew it would take time. So I mapped out a plan and I kept that long-term perspective. Tell me in the comments below, are you going to become a millionaire? And if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to see even more awesome content from me, make sure and check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.